What's a skill that technical writers use constantly but rarely get recognized for? Project management. Seriously, we all do it. You doubt me? If you've ever been handed a vague task like just write the docs or document this feature with no plan, no deadline, and no support, and you still pulled it off, guess what? You managed a project, whether you meant to or not. Let's talk about how to manage projects intentionally and how to build a skill if it doesn't come to you naturally. Part 1. How to manage a documentation project. Let me run you through how to manage a documentation project. This might be a single feature, it might be an entire documentation set. Doesn't matter, it's just a matter of scale. The steps are basically the same. You might not necessarily do them in this order, but they all need to happen at some point. Step 1. Gather requirements and define your audience. A quick how-to can morph into a 40-page guide if you don't clarify goals early. Get scope before you start. What's in, what's out, and what does done look like? You'll often hear the definition of done. Getting this down in writing and agreed to is vital. Before you type a single word, ask, when are these documents needed? What do these docs need to do? Are we onboarding, supporting, complying with something? Do we need tutorials, tasks, references, concepts? Or is it just a bunch of reference pages? What should they not do? What is out of scope? What formats are needed? Hard copy, online, PDF? Who are these docs for? This is also called audience analysis. Beginners, devs, customers, internal people. Tone, examples, structures, all of that depends on who's reading the docs. Build one or more personas if necessary so that you know who you're writing for. What are they trying to achieve? What do they know or not know? Are there multiple audiences you're writing for? And how do you meet all their needs? Who's the primary and secondary audience? Ask this early because if you're writing for the wrong person, you're just wasting time. Step 2, identify your stakeholders. Who needs to be involved? For example, you'll probably need SMEs to explain what you're documenting, reviewers to make sure your content is correct, editors, if you're lucky, to make sure the docs are grammatically correct and well organized because everyone needs a second pair of eyes, and in some organizations, approvers for final review and to bless the end product before it goes out the door. If you need someone, warn them early and make sure they have the bandwidth to support the project. Nobody likes a last-minute request, and it stinks when you need someone and they aren't available. Step 3, set a real timeline. After you've gathered all this information, you can set up a timeline. Not just ASAP, although this occasionally happens, an actual calendar date. When you can, build a real timeline with milestones. When do you need the first draft? How long do you have for reviews and how many rounds of review will you need? When is the final version due? Write it down, put it on a calendar, and make sure everyone understands and agrees to it. Step 4, pick a system and use it. Jira, Linear, Notion, Trello, spreadsheets, sticky notes on your wall. Don't care. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it's consistent, shared if necessary, and not just in your head. You need to break down and write down tasks and subtasks, dependencies, review cycles, blockers. Give your tool as your second brain. Your future self and your colleagues will thank you. Step 5, schedule check-ins and communicate progress. Once everything is defined, broken down, and written down, schedule check-ins. Because if the project is important, and docs are literally part of the product, then silence is scary. Do internal check-ins with your team or department frequently, every day if possible. Do a stand-up like the Agile teams do, short and sweet so everyone knows what's going on, who's doing what, who's blocked, who needs help, and who is right on track. Do stakeholder check-ins when necessary, generally on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, whether it's a meeting or in writing. Make sure everyone involved knows when the check-ins are scheduled because that structure inspires confidence and trust. Remember, they're not just status updates. They're early warning systems to prevent surprises. You might have heard me say, I loathe surprises. If you catch a problem early enough, then you can prevent it from becoming a crisis, or worse, a last-minute crisis. Keep people in the loop. Let management know what's moving, let dependencies know what's coming, remind stakeholders what you're waiting on. Documentation is part of a bigger machine, and if you go dark, you can stall the whole thing. Part 2, but I'm not a project manager. So you might be thinking, I'm not a project manager, I'm a writer, and everything you just said sounds scary and intimidating. Look, you don't need a project management certification to run a doc project. You just need to think like a project manager. Here are a few ways to learn how. First, practice with a low-risk project. Plan an event, like a party or a multi-course dinner. Seriously, because think about it. When planning, you'll naturally scope the event, how many people, what kind of food, gather requirements, any allergies or dietary restrictions, set deadlines, when's it happening, when does the cake need to go in, build a timeline, what's prepped in advance versus the day of, and what's the schedule, manage people, who's bringing what, who's helping, and track details, music, chairs, backup brain plan, food and drink. It's all project management, but if your cheese plate is late, no one gets fired. 2, learn just enough to be dangerous. Pick up enough formal project management knowledge to get by. There are a lot of free resources available. YouTube, Coursera, or LinkedIn Learning are great places to start. You can learn about breaking down tasks, building timelines, communicating risks, and keeping people accountable. 3, practice on small docs. Next help article, feature update, or bug fix doc, treat it like a mini project. Write a plan, set a schedule, and track your own blockers. You'll start seeing patterns, avoiding chaos, and building a project management system that works for you and is robust and repeatable. 4, talk to real PMs. People love to talk about themselves and what they do. If you ask for an informational interview, or you can take them out to coffee and pick their brain, odds are they'll be delighted. Ask how they work. What tools do they use? How do they structure timelines? What do they do when things go sideways? Any advice they care to share? Steal their best tricks and adapt them to documentation and build your system with them. 5, document your process. You're a tech writer. Write down how you manage projects. Keep it as a living doc. Update it when you find a better way. This becomes your personal or team playbook and proof of your skills. Bottom line, project management isn't just Kanban boards and status decks. It's the skill that gets your work done. It's how you lead without a title. It's how you make sure the docs ship on time and help the people they're meant to serve. You're not just a writer. You're a builder. You're a driver. You're how things go from vague idea to published reality. You are a project manager, and documentation is your project. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more technical writing uncensored. Until next time, keep writing, keep shipping, and have fun planning that party.